At first, it looked like just another cute toddler video. A little girl sitting on a bed, sunglasses too big for her face, a bottle in one hand, and a phrase in Portuguese that made an entire fandom stop scrolling. Because the little girl in that video isn't just any child. She's Helena, the daughter of Brazilian football icon Neymar Jr. And the name she said, almost by instinct, was Jimin. If you're into BTS content that actually pays attention to the small details other channels skip over, you're in the right place. This channel exists for armies who notice the things most people scroll past without stopping. And stick with this one until the end. The context behind this moment is more interesting than the clip itself. So here's how this actually started. According to posts circulating from fan accounts, Helena's mother, Brazilian model Amanda Kimberly, shared a video on her Instagram story showing her daughter enjoying content related to BTS. In the clip, Helena can reportedly be heard saying in Portuguese something translated roughly as, "The ult is Jimin. We even have to do the hair bun," a clear reference to Jimin's now iconic messy bun hairstyle. Fan pages quickly picked up the clip, translated it, and began circulating it under a simple label, the Jimin effect. Before going further, it's worth being upfront. This is based on a since-shared Instagram story reposted and translated by fan accounts, not an official statement from Neymar or Amanda Kimberly themselves. But the footage itself, a toddler mimicking Jimin's hairstyle while sipping from her bottle, is real, and it's exactly the kind of small, unscripted moment that tends to travel fast in fandom spaces. Let's talk about why this particular detail hit different for a lot of people watching it. The first thing fans zeroed in on wasn't just that a child likes BTS. Plenty of celebrity kids have been filmed enjoying K-pop before. What stood out here was specificity. Helena isn't described as simply a BTS fan. According to the translated caption, she has an ult, fandom terminology for an ultimate bias, the one member a fan connects with above all the others, and that member is Jimin. For anyone who's spent time in fandom spaces, that distinction matters. Loving a group as a whole is one thing. Having a bias, especially at that age, suggests something more personal. Recognition, attachment, a favorite face that stands out among seven. And then there's the hairstyle detail. The caption doesn't just say she watches Jimin's performances, it says she tries to recreate his hair bun. That's imitation, the kind of behavior usually reserved for someone a child genuinely looks up to, whether it's a cartoon character, a parent, or in this case, apparently, a K-pop idol on the other side of the world. This is where the story starts to widen out a little bit. Neymar Jr. is, by any measure, one of the most recognizable athletes on the planet. Brazilian football carries its own massive, multi-generational fan base, and Neymar himself has spent years as one of its central figures, someone whose personal life, family moments, and even casual social media posts get amplified far beyond football circles. So when a detail about his household, even something as small as his toddler's music taste, starts circulating, it doesn't stay contained within football fan spaces. It crosses over. And that crossover is exactly what fan accounts leaned into when they coined the phrase "Global It Boy Jimin" underneath the clip. It's worth pausing here on why that specific label keeps following Jimin around. Over the past couple of years, Jimin's individual visibility has expanded well past the BTS fandom itself. His solo activities, brand partnerships, and international press presence have put him in rooms, literally and figuratively, that most K-pop idols never enter. Fashion houses, global ambassadorships, chart positions typically reserved for Western pop acts. Longtime fans have watched this arc build gradually, one milestone at a time, to the point where a moment like this, a toddler from a completely unrelated industry in a completely different country gravitating toward Jimin specifically, doesn't feel like a fluke to them. It feels like confirmation of something they've been saying for a while, that Jimin's reach isn't limited to the traditional K-pop audience anymore.
That's the emotional core fans kept circling back to in the comments under the repost. It's not really about a toddler liking a boy band. It's about what it represents when someone entirely outside the industry, a child no less, with no context for fame or fandom politics, responds to Jimin specifically without being told to. Here's where it gets a little more interesting though. Some fans dug slightly further and noted that Neymar himself has not been a stranger to BTS references in the past. Clips of Neymar commenting on the group's global fan base, comparing football fandoms to music fandoms, have floated around fan edit accounts for a while. Nothing officially confirmed as a deep personal connection, but enough ambient association that when the Helena clip surfaced, it didn't feel like it was coming out of nowhere. It felt, to a lot of viewers, like a small continuation of something that had already been quietly present in the background. And that's the layer that makes this story different from a typical celebrity's kid likes a boy band post. It's not an isolated data point. It's one more piece in a pattern fans had already been tracking, one where Jimin's name keeps surfacing in spaces you wouldn't expect: football, fashion, entertainment circles well outside music. Each time it happens, it gets folded into the same ongoing narrative fans have nicknamed, only half-jokingly, the Jimin effect. Let's slow down on the video itself for a second, because the way it was edited matters. The clip fan accounts circulated pairs two images side by side: Helena, sitting cross-legged in an oversized jacket, sunglasses on, drinking from her bottle, with the caption overlay showing her words in Portuguese, and next to it, a photo of Jimin performing live, hairstyled in that same loose, textured bun. The visual pairing does a lot of the storytelling on its own. You don't need to speak Portuguese to understand what's being suggested: a toddler trying in her own small way to look like her favorite performer. It's a small thing. It's also, if you've spent any time around fandom culture, exactly the kind of small thing that tends to stick with people far longer than a big, obvious headline would.
And here's where the story shifts into something a little more personal, at least in how fans read it. There's a reason moments like this tend to hit different than, say, chart records or award nominations. Numbers are impressive, but they're abstract. A toddler recreating a hairstyle because she recognizes and likes someone specific, that's not abstract at all. It's the same instinct that makes fans of any age gravitate toward an idol: attachment, recognition, the sense that someone, even from a screen, has become a fixture in your world. Seeing that instinct show up in a 2-year-old, completely unprompted by industry logic or marketing, reads to a lot of longtime BTS fans as proof that whatever Jimin does on stage and in front of cameras genuinely lands, not just with people who already understand the context of K-pop, but with people who have absolutely no reason to care unless something about it simply resonated. That's the piece a lot of the reposts kept circling back to in captions and replies. Not the celebrity connection, but the innocence of it. A child doesn't perform loyalty to a brand. She doesn't know what a comeback schedule is, or what a bias wrecker is, or why fandom Twitter debates ultimate biases for hours. She just responded to something she saw and liked enough to imitate. And for a fandom that spent years defending Jimin's stage presence, his vocal color, his performance instincts, having that presence register with someone entirely outside their world, a toddler on a different continent, raised in a completely different cultural context, felt, to many commenters, like a quiet kind of validation. But it's worth being careful here too, and not overreading a single clip into something bigger than it is. What we actually know, based on the circulating post, is this: Amanda Kimberly shared a video of her daughter on her Instagram story. In that video, Helena reportedly said a phrase identifying Jimin as her favorite BTS member and referenced trying to copy his hairstyle. Fan accounts translated and reposted this, framing it under the Jimin effect label that's been used before for similar crossover moments. There's no official statement from Neymar himself in any of the material currently circulating, and there's no indication this was anything other than an unscripted, private family moment that happened to become public once it was shared and picked up. That distinction matters because it's easy for fandom spaces to build an entire narrative out of a single ambiguous data point.
In this case, though, the core detail, a toddler expressing a preference for Jimin, specifically by name, is fairly unambiguous on its own. It doesn't need embellishment to be interesting. The story doesn't need a bigger conspiracy or a hidden meaning. Sometimes, a small, genuine moment is exactly as significant as it looks, proof that an artist's reach has quietly extended into places nobody was really tracking. And that's really what fans mean when they use the phrase Jimin effect in the first place. It's less about any one dramatic event and more about an accumulation. Brand deals, chart placements, unexpected fan reveals and interviews, and now, apparently, a football legend's toddler recreating a hairstyle on Instagram. None of these moments individually would make headlines on their own. Together, they build a picture fans have been assembling piece by piece, that Jimin's visibility has quietly outgrown the boundaries of a typical K-pop idol's reach, popping up in industries and households that have nothing to do with music at all. There's also something worth noting about why this particular kind of story spreads the way it does. It isn't breaking news in the traditional sense. Nobody made an announcement, no agency issued a press release. It moved because it was shared, translated, and reshared by fans who recognized what they were looking at and decided it was worth passing along. That's arguably the most organic kind of spread a moment like this can have. Not manufactured virality, but something closer to word of mouth, fan account to fan account, until enough people had seen it that it started showing up as its own topic of conversation. So where does that leave things? What's clear is this: a toddler from one of the most recognizable football families on the planet reportedly named Jimin as her favorite BTS member and was filmed trying to copy his signature hairstyle. What's less clear, and probably will stay that way unless either family addresses it directly, is how much of this reflects a deeper connection between the two families, versus a completely coincidental, charming moment that happened to go viral because of who was involved. Either way, it's easy to see why this particular clip resonated the way it did. It wasn't packaged as promotion. It wasn't part of a campaign. It was just a small, unscripted piece of a child's day that happened to intersect, briefly, with one of the most talked about idols in the world right now. And fans, as they tend to do, noticed immediately. So here's the real question worth sitting with. Is this just fans reading too much into a cute clip of a toddler with a bottle in her hand, or does it say something real about how far an artist's presence can travel once it stops needing translation, context, or even language to land? Because a 2-year-old didn't need a comeback trailer or a press tour to know exactly who she liked. She just knew. If there's another detail from this clip you think deserves more attention, the caption, the styling, the way the two photos were paired together, drop it in the comments. More often than not, the sharpest observations in these threads come from ARMY themselves.
Not from the original post.